Hey mom friends, this is Functional Medicine for Moms, where we look at motherhood through the lens of functional medicine. I'm your host, Kelly Moline, a pharmacist with advanced training in functional medicine. From pregnancy and postpartum to everyday parent life, we talk root causes, natural solutions, and real stories from our own family's journey, plus conversations with experts along the way.
Chickadee, 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 check.
I'm not putting that in there.
No. Okay, well then start how you want. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
No, just say something.
Tell the world who you are. We're wasting so much tape right now.
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Functional Medicine for Moms. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Landon.
And thanks for joining us again as we're going through time talking about trying to conceive and fertility and all of that, whether it's your first or your second or many more.
Yes, this is a very relatable topic right now for us because we're going to be trying for baby number 2. So it's a fun thing to talk about.
Yeah. So today we're talking about fertility labs worth knowing before trying to conceive. And I think the biggest thing is why you would even do labs in the first place.
Yes. Why would you do labs in the first place?
Well, fertility is really just a reflection of your overall health, and pregnancy is super metabolically demanding. So you want to be in the best state for pregnancy for sure.
That makes sense.
So if we can, identifying imbalances before pregnancy to correct them, that not only helps your chance of a successful conception, but also we want a healthy pregnancy, we want a healthy baby, we want a healthy postpartum. All of that is involved.
And what does metabolically demanding mean?
Metabolically demanding just means that we're taking a ton of nutrients to make this new baby. It's really draining for the mom, and the priority during pregnancy is going to be for the baby. And you can definitely tell the difference between a mom who has a lot of nutrients and good reserves and their body is really healthy versus a mom who may not have that. And then also getting the dad there too, because the sperm is going to, like we talked about, influence the mom's pregnancy symptoms too. So having both partners, the woman and the man, do the labs can be really beneficial.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I mean, I remember how fatigued you were during pregnancy, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And also looking at the lab values, and there's a difference between normal ranges, which could be pretty broad, and then optimal ranges for fertility. So that is going to be a much narrower window that we're aiming for the best possible outcomes and to optimize your fertility state.
Gotcha. Because anyone can get pregnant, but to hone in on like having the healthiest pregnancy possible, that's where we're aiming.
Yeah, and not even to say like anyone can get pregnant, because if you've been trying and not succeeding, it can definitely be hard just to get pregnant. But trying to make sure we have that healthy conception, and then beyond those measures, we want, a term baby. We don't want to end with a loss. We don't want to end with complications. We don't want to have the mom have complications, whether that be morning sickness, whether that be gestational diabetes or preeclampsia. All of those things are risk factors and, possible adverse effects, but we can try to manage them the best we can. And if we have time before conception, that's going to give us even better outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if we have the time, like in a perfect world, we would start 6 to 12 to 18 months out before even trying to have a baby. And if you have the means, with financial means, with time, with energy, looking into functional medicine testing can be really helpful. And that could include Dutch testing, GI map, organic acids. Again, looking at the body as a whole, looking at hormones, looking at cortisol, looking at gut health, looking and detoxing. All of that stuff needs to be done well before, and that can definitely take time. Like if you have gut pathogens and other things like that, it takes time to kill it. It takes time to heal it. And then you'd want to finish all of that 90 days before you even start trying. So that's like in a perfect world. And I know that that isn't realistic for everyone. For some people don't know when they exactly want to try. Obviously, there's the financial means as well to it. And then a lot of people may not have access to that or know that that is even a thing. So I understand that that's not for everyone. And if you're able to do that later on, obviously that's still going to make a big impact on your health. But doing it earlier can make a big impact for the health of you, for your conception, the health of your pregnancy, and then obviously the health of your baby too.
Well, I mean, I think we've said before, at the end of the day, if you don't know when you're going to start trying, but you know that you do want a kid eventually, like the worst that can happen is you do these labs, you figure out like what you need to work on and what needs to become more healthy in your body. And then, you know, if you decide, oh, we're going to put off trying, you still, at the end of the day, got healthier if you tried. And so it's not like a bad thing. And hopefully you can continue those healthier habits, so that when you are ready, like you've already laid the groundwork. So I feel like it's never really too early to get healthier for a healthier pregnancy.
Yeah, I completely agree, because you're going to get more outcomes and more benefits than just a healthier pregnancy.
Exactly.
So yeah, that would be a perfect world. If you're listening to this episode and you're like, actually, we're going to start trying really soon, or you likely have been trying for a while, or, you know, functional medicine can get more expensive than you want to spend right now. And so what are more affordable things that we can do right now? So I'm going to go through that.
Okay, shoot.
So the first thing is we want blood sugar stability. This has been proven over and over that blood sugar stability, it affects your metabolic health, it affects your fertility. To be able to have good metabolic health and stable blood sugar, we can test your A1C, your fasting glucose, fasting insulin. Those are all really good markers to be able to see how you're doing with your metabolic health and your blood sugar stability.
Okay, so stability, you're saying, like, I mean, when I think of blood sugar stability, I'm thinking like keeping it regulated or kind of, I guess, at the same level consistently.
Yeah, you want it to be more consistent. You don't want a lot of super highs. You're likely not getting a lot of super lows unless you have other things going on or type 1 diabetes. But yeah, we definitely don't want a ton of super high numbers. But that happens. And blood sugar stability can obviously come from eating a lot of sugar in the diet or carbohydrates in the diet, especially not when not paired with fat or protein, because protein and fat and fiber can help plateau that so it doesn't spike so high. But it can also come from stress. So cortisol, when that's released in the body, it's going to push blood sugar into the system for that fight or flight, because it uses the sugar as really quick energy. So even if you're eating really well, if you're under a ton of stress, that could also definitely affect your blood sugar. Or if you're skipping meals, that can affect your blood sugar too, because it's again going to push that cortisol to manage your blood sugar because it saw that you didn't eat. So it's trying to give you that surge anyway.
Gotcha. And what are the side effects that not having good like blood sugar regulation or stability, how can that impact pregnancy?
So it's going to cause more inflammation. It's going to disrupt hormones, and it can cause weight gain, other things like that. So why I say we're testing A1C, fasting glucose, and fasting insulin, they're all measuring something a little bit differently. A1C is measuring your blood sugar over the course of the last 2 to 3 months. And then fasting glucose is one point in time. Glucose is another word for sugar. So, and we want it fasting. So like you're not eating for 8 to 12 hours before testing, so that what you're eating right before testing doesn't influence your test. So you're getting like a real value of what that looks like. And so we don't want that your blood sugar too high, obviously, nor would we want too low, but your body typically manages that pretty well. And then fasting insulin is the hormone. Insulin is the hormone that takes up the blood sugar and takes it into the cells for storage. So if we have a lot of insulin in our body, then that is a sign that you're actually having a lot of sugar in the body, but the sugar might look normal for a while, but fasting insulin is higher than it should be, and that's because the body is making more insulin to regulate the sugar. So the insulin's going to go up before the blood sugar goes up.
Gotcha.
Or shows it on the test, because the blood sugar goes up, the body makes more insulin to keep the blood sugar stable.
In this lab, it shows all that?
Yeah, that's what the lab is looking for.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you're currently trying to conceive or even just thinking about pregnancy in the near future, I'm working on something I am so excited to share with you soon. I'm creating a comprehensive preparing for pregnancy guide along with affordable fertility-focused lab panels for both women and men to help bridge the gap between just keep trying and jumping straight into fertility clinics or IVF. This resource is designed to help couples optimize their fertility state, better understand their bodies, and identify potential issues earlier through comprehensive lab testing and education. Inside the guide, we'll cover things like nutrition and lifestyle for fertility, ovulation tracking and timing, supplements, male fertility, comprehensive fertility labs and optimal ranges for fertility, semen analysis, when to seek additional support, and how to take more intentional next steps moving forward. My goal is to help couples feel more informed, empowered, and less alone during the process without fear, overwhelm, or pressure for perfection. The guide and labs are not quite live yet, but you can join the waitlist now at molinemethod.com/fertility, so you'll be the first to know when everything launches. Again, that's molinemethod.com/fertility. I truly can't wait to share this with you guys. That would be like the first few biomarkers I think would be really helpful to see where's my metabolic health at. The second tier would be thyroid, and at minimum, looking at TSH, free T3, free T4, antibodies. And the TSH is the thyroid stimulating hormone. A lot of doctors will test the TSH, but a lot of times it's all they'll test. So we want more information. And so T4 and T3 are the thyroid hormones in the body. So your thyroid makes the T4, which gets converted into the T3, which is like the active thyroid hormone that we think about. And then you can get more, like total of those numbers. You can get reverse T3, which is like the break. Instead of getting converted to active T3, sometimes it gets converted to reverse. But all in all, getting those thyroid numbers can be really helpful, and the antibodies could be an indication of autoimmune. So if we see that you have antibodies for your own thyroid, that is a big red flag, and that can be really hard to get pregnant. So we want our thyroid to be working appropriately. We don't want to be fighting our thyroid in any way. And we want those numbers to, again, be an optimal range. We don't want them too high, too low. We want them to be working appropriately so that the body, knows it's safe and its metabolism is working. That's what the thyroid is doing. It's a big regulator for our body.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like most of the time when I hear thyroid, it's people that are a little older are looking at their thyroid. And so I feel like it's something that's probably not tested a lot, especially when it comes to pregnancy.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's what they call the coal miner's canary. So if you have a lot of things in the body that's starting to go out, the thyroid is one of the first to go out. So then they go to the doctor, their thyroid is off, they're put on thyroid medication. And a lot of times it's just attributed to, oh, you just have a thyroid issue. Next. But there's a lot more going on than just the thyroid
So
getting
they treat
off.
the thyroid and not the actual problem.
Yeah. They're not digging deeper. So
the thyroid is like that red light on the waffle machine that goes off when the waffle's ready. But it could have gone off just because something was unplugged or broken or whatever else.
Yeah, I don't make a lot of waffles, so I don't really know.
Maybe it was an older waffle machine, but yeah.
Okay. I'll believe you.
Never mind. Bad analogy.
Sure. So, yeah, thyroid. Definitely get that checked and get more than just TSH. And then I would look at nutrition. So, vitamin D, folate, vitamin B12, magnesium, and an iron panel. That would be all very helpful, and making sure, again, those are in optimal levels. If they're not, obviously making sure we have a well-rounded diet with those vitamins in there, but supplementation can also be really helpful, and quality supplements to help fill in the gaps where your diet is missing. And if that still isn't working, you may need to look into your gut, because you might have leaky gut. So even though you're consuming it, your gut, it's just going straight through, like into the blood, and is not actually getting absorbed into where it's needed. So that could be an issue too. That could be an indication that we have further looking into.
Okay. And all these symptoms are basically things that could keep your body from allowing itself to become pregnant, because it's kind of fighting itself.
Yeah. Like, for instance, vitamin D receptors are all over the reproductive organs. They're all over the ovaries, the uterus. So like, they're really important. Obviously, if there's receptors there, that means that there's a need for vitamin D to do something in that area, and that area is meant for conception and for hormones. So if we don't have optimal vitamin D levels, that's super low hanging fruit that we can check and then just give vitamin D, and that's pretty easy to do. So if we can take that low hanging fruit and do something with it and get pregnant and have better outcomes, that could be really good. There's also been a lot of studies with morning sickness and different vitamin B deficiencies. So making sure your vitamin B levels are optimal can be really helpful for that too.
Got it. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. And then some other ones, lipids and liver. So lipids would be like your cholesterol. So looking,
are these other labs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Total cholesterol, triglycerides, LDL, HDL, making sure that. So, okay, I'll be a little bit different with this. So we need cholesterol to make our hormones. So my goal for this isn't to bottom out your cholesterol levels like a lot of doctors do want to do. Like, they want to make your cholesterol as low as possible and see cholesterol as an enemy, and I don't believe that. And a lot of functional doctors lean towards, we can have a little cholesterol and that's fine. Obviously we don't need too much, and that could be a metabolic issue in itself, but we do need to have some. So my optimal levels for fertility may look a little bit different than the guidelines, because I'm not trying to bottom out your cholesterol. And then liver, some markers, ALT and AST, can look at liver health and see if there's been liver damage. And if those are elevated, it could be a sign that you've had liver damage. But the liver is really good at recouping, and different supplements can help that, along with, again, everything we've talked about: rest, food, all of that can be really helpful. And then an inflammation marker, high sensitivity C-reactive protein, is a general inflammation marker to see if there's inflammation going on in the body. And so that can be really helpful too. Hey, do you feel really inflamed? Are we showing a lot of inflammation? Do we need to calm that inflammation before trying to conceive? That is not going away with pregnancy. I can pretty much tell you that. And then, with postpartum and everything too, like the more we can do beforehand, the better you're going to be. Because I'm telling you, once you have that baby, it's not like you have all the time in the world. And like, you need those reserves just for those late nights and all of that.
Yeah.
You're not getting more energy because you had a baby. Let me tell you that.
Well, I think like you also, like, just the benefits of labs in general, like you can think you're a really healthy person and do everything right, but your body might not be processing certain things correctly. And I mean, the earlier you know what's going on, the better. I mean, you could say, oh, I feel pretty healthy, like we'll just see how it goes, and start trying, and then 4 or 5 months in, 6 months in, or whatever, you like wondering what's going on. Well, then like now push that window back, and then you have to start getting your body to a healthy state where it can have a pregnancy. And then, so I mean, like, yeah, the earlier the better either way.
Yeah. And like we said, even catching some of that low-hanging fruit could be super helpful. And then if you are trying and you want more in-depth on hormones, then you can do, for women, they can do day 3 hormones, which includes estradiol, which is like your estrogen, your LH and FSH, and then other ones would be AMH, which looks at ovarian reserve, which is like how many eggs do we have left in the tank. So that could be really good for fertility planning. And I say especially recommend for women 35 and older, but even if you are not 35 yet and you just want to know that number, then that can be really helpful too. And then men, definitely those foundational labs that we talked about, but then semen analysis can be really helpful too.
Semen analysis?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So not just looking, like there are some cheap sperm tests that are like, do we have sperm? Yes or no. And that can be helpful if you're not sure if you have sperm in your semen. Just because you have semen doesn't mean there's sperm in there. So that can be helpful. But like more, like better semen analysis for pregnancy would do more testing to see, how good those swimmers are, what's the shape, what's the size, how many of them are there, do they have DNA fragmentation, or are they weirdly shaped, or do they have altered DNA that could increase risk of miscarriage or other things like that. So there's a lot we can see in there. And then sperm is also a great depiction of the man's health in general.
Got it. And we are 50% of the equation, so we matter too.
Yes. If you're trying to conceive and looking for a natural way to better understand your cycle, I personally love and use the KEG Fertility Tracker. It's actually what I use while trying to conceive Danielle. KEG is a medical grade fertility tracking device that gives personalized fertility tracking through cervical fluid patterns in just 1 minute a day. Unlike ovulation strips that only predict a hormone surge, KEG helps identify your fertile window in real time. A few things I personally love about it: it's a one-time purchase with no monthly subscription fees or ovulation tests. It comes with a 12-month pregnancy guarantee or your money back, and you can use HSA or FSA funds to purchase it. If you want to check it out, you can use my code Functional Medicine for Moms for $20 off, and I'll have the link down in the show notes. Again, that's Functional Medicine for Moms for an additional $20 off the KEG Fertility Tracker. Yeah, so that was a lot. So definitely feel free to rewind and to write those down and ask them. You can either ask them for a provider, or I am planning on having the labs accessible for people to order on my website, molenemethod.com. And having affordable, accessible options is really important to me. So the labs start around $200, which I think is super doable for general health and just looking at like our starting point. And because I've had plenty of friends that they're starting to look at fertility docs and they're like, yeah, my fertility doc, $800 later, and I didn't get a ton of information. So to make it more affordable and to get that information can be really helpful. And I also have my Preparing for Pregnancy guide coming out as well in June. So you can find that all on my website, all the labs and what they're looking for, why it's important for fertility, what the standard range and the optimal fertility range, that's all in the guide, along with what to do if it's out of range. So I provide 3 or 4 lifestyle tips in there for each value so that you can actually do something about it. And if you see a lot of markers off and you want more information, you can definitely bring it to a local practitioner or bring it to me and we can go from there. But this is not something that you're required to have an appointment with me. So I'm giving you the power with labs and being able to do something with it.
A little DIY lab.
But yeah. And
kind of.
yeah.
You've laid the groundwork already, so
yeah.
there's less needed.
Yeah. Well, I think people aren't dumb. I think they understand like, oh, my vitamin B12 isn't in optimal range. Let's have vitamin B12, you know? Mm-hmm. So like if we're able to do a lot of that stuff by ourselves or work on our stress response or find a chiropractor that focuses on neurology or something like that, those are all things that could be really helpful. So, and then if you still need someone later, I can be part of that equation. But yeah, I just want to be able to help more people find the care they need or get the information they need about their bodies.
Nice.
So yeah, that's a little quick snippet on labs.
There was a lot of information there. So yeah, this might be one to go back and try to re-listen to and pick out what you want out of it. But
yeah. Anyway, fun time is now starting with Landon's dad joke.
I think some of the labs were fun.
Okay.
But we'll end it with something a little easier to digest. Okay. What do you call birds who stick together?
Flamingos.
Velcros.
Aha. Ha ha ha. Like it. Okay. Anyway.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to my podcast, Functional Medicine for Moms. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss one, leave a quick 5-star review, and share it with your mom friends who love it too. I'm Kelly with a background as a pharmacist and training in functional medicine. I help women move past fatigue, brain fog, gut issues, and hormone struggles so they can thrive in everyday life or prepare for a healthy pregnancy. Through lab testing, personalized supplements, and functional medicine coaching, I help you feel better, faster, naturally. Want to connect more? Head over to molenemethod.com or come hang out with me on Instagram and YouTube at Functional Medicine for Moms. On my site, you can order professional grade supplements at my discount or book a free discovery call if you'd like to see how we can work together on your health. This podcast is for educational purposes only and not medical advice. Always talk to your provider before making changes to your health plan. And remember, healthy moms raise healthy families. Catch you next time. New episodes released every Wednesday.